Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Number 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt.
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And a Mr. Toby Tom play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Former LSU offensive lineman, All-American Will Blackwell in 30 minutes. Like, can you actually fix this offensive line in half a season? We'll ask him in 30 minutes from right now. We have our first firing in the Southeastern Conference. Sam Pittman fired after the Hogs were embarrassed by Notre Dame 1 week after blowing an 18-point lead against Memphis. And their athletic director, Hunter Yurachek, said point blank that he had no chance.
You know, you were at the board meeting, and I gave you some statistics where our head coach compensation, our assistant coach salary pool, our support staff salary pool, and our overall operating budget ranked towards the bottom of the Southeastern Conference. I think with that information, Coach Pittman did not have the resources he needed to appropriately compete in this conference right now.
Hey, sorry we didn't give what you need to win. You're fired! What? All right. Our buddy John Nabors is going to join us now. Of course, you can catch John with the Locked On Hogs podcast and also Inside Arkansas. Hey, man, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Oh, just great. I mean, it's something I've looked forward to every single day of my life is coaching searches. But, man, this is it's been a wild 48 hours. I can tell you that.
It's great for podcast downloads.
Man, you ain't lying.
Okay, give me your reaction to, I guess, the whole thing, the firing, the timing, the all of it.
Yeah, so it was one of those things to where I had been hearing after the Memphis loss that Arkansas had, which was pretty embarrassing because they had blown such a pretty big lead. I mean, Memphis is a good team, don't get me wrong, but when you're up 28-10 and you're an SEC team, you should take care of business instead of scoring 3 points in the second half and end up losing and letting them come back from behind. I've been hearing that week that there was probably going to be some sort of change made going into the bye week. However, Arkansas still had a game against Notre Dame, which is really upsetting because that was like the only time these teams have played. It's probably the only time in my life I'm going to see Notre Dame in Fayetteville, as well as many other people. And then you saw that embarrassment. I mean, Arkansas gave up 42 points in the first half to Notre Dame. It seemed like the writing was on the wall, and it was just a matter of time. And so Arkansas moved quickly. It wasn't surprising that they did fire Sam Pittman on that Sunday. It makes sense to bring Bobby Petrino in as the interim, which is still a wild story. And then it's just been chaos ever since and wait and seeing what the next big news piece is going to hit. But it was time. I feel like myself and many Razorback fans felt like Sam Pittman probably should have been let go at the end of last season because now it seems like you just wasted 9 months for no reason whatsoever.
There was a component of Pittman's buyout, John, where that if he had a sub 500 record, the buyout dropped significantly. So why now? Why not wait till November when seemingly he would have been sub 500 and they would have saved a bunch of money?
I think it was just a matter of looking at what the team and what the players had let go of the rope. It's just a matter of, do you really want to have 7 games of this be seen? It was all inevitable at that point. And, you know, I believe that the buyout and the buyout money has never been an issue. I know that they did a settled amount out of there where they got a little bit cheaper, still a significant amount of money. But I think it's that and also just sending a message to fans, sending a message to the college football world that, hey, this is not going to happen. This is not going to be tolerated. And they wanted to make the move there. So whoever's going to be paying the buyout, it ain't going to be me, but whoever's paying it obviously is fine with doing the firing and having to pay for whatever that amount ends up being. But still, it's just something that needed to be done and needed to be done in the bye week.
Okay. What is Sam Pittman's legacy at Arkansas?
That is a great question because I've thought a lot about this, and it's unfortunate because I mentioned last year, if they would have let him go at the end of last season, would he have been remembered as this iconic legend coach? Absolutely not. If anything, I think Razorback fans would have looked at him and saying, hey, we appreciate you for coming into this situation that wasn't good. Chad Morris, back-to-back 2 and 10 years. Your first season was during COVID. You made Arkansas into at least a competitive program, and following a 4-8 season, you stepped back up and you got back to at least a 7-6 season. We appreciate you, Sam. We appreciate you getting Arkansas back to at least a little bit of relevancy, but it's time to move on. But instead, you stuck with him, and now it's almost going to be a sour taste in everyone's mouth because now his lasting legacy is getting blown out and being there a guy that looked like he was a lame duck coach, who looks like he wasn't set up for success, who looks like he just lost the team completely, didn't look like he had a grasp on everything around it. And it's just not going to be a very fond memory Razorback fans are having because of these last 5 games. And it's just unfortunate. Again, I appreciate him. Everybody appreciates him. He's a nice guy. He's a guy you'd love to have a beer with. But it's a performance-based business, and he was not winning at a high enough clip for Arkansas fans to be excited about the future of him and excited about him remaining as coach.
He's on Twitter at John Nabors Show. Give him a follow. Of course, Inside Arkansas and the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So, Bobby Petrino's interim, that's a wild story in and of itself for all the reasons we know. Does he have a legitimate shot, John, of getting the job full-time?
I think he does. Now, I don't believe that it is the number one option that they have, but there has been some expressing of Bobby Petrino wanting this job. I still can't believe I'm saying this after everything that happened about 15 years ago. It's insane, but he does desire, he wants the job. And I look at the Petrino angle of with the firing of Sam Pittman, he fired the entire defensive staff essentially too. He's rolling in. He's like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this my way. And he's going to try to approach it that way. And when this team gets together, they play Tennessee next on the road. Not exactly an easy thing to do. It's going to be interesting to see with how this team comes out. But he's got 7 games. He's got 7 games in 9 weeks to prove that he is the guy. I don't think it's fair to say, well, you better go 5-2 if you're going to stay on. I don't think it's fair to do that. But it's a fascinating thing because what if he does? What if he does turn this thing around? What if he does reignite the team and suddenly they go 4-3, something crazy like that? Go to a bowl game, which they're not looking at one right now. How does that change everything? It's like you have to give him the job because he showed that he could do it. But my thing is, Matt, is that Arkansas and Bobby Petrino, we know there's history there. Bobby Petrino is not a dumb guy. He wouldn't be wanting and desiring a head coaching job if he didn't feel like he could succeed at it, but also feel like he didn't have the support. And in my opinion, I believe there is somebody or a good amount of people who have backed Bobby Petrino in this saying, hey, if you want the job and if you end up being the head coach, we got you. We're going to take care of you. We're going to make sure you got the NIL. We're going to make sure you have everything you need. To me, that would be the only reason why Bobby would truly, truly want this job instead of just saying, hey, yeah, let me have this 1 year and I'm out of here, man. I'll go find something else because I don't want to deal with this nonsense.
So, but John, it's an interesting question then. Why would boosters, help us understand the culture, why would boosters not support Sam Pittman on the NIL front, as Hunter Yurchek said, but they would be lining up to support Bobby Petrino?
This is the thing that's been very controversial that Razorback fans continue to hear. The culture over here at the University of Arkansas and the football program is not a good one, and it's been toxic for a long time. It's been something to where it feels like nobody's communicating, nobody's transparent, and nobody really knows what's going on. And when you had the comments yesterday about Yurchek, I'm like, okay, so a few things have to happen here because Yurchek has been going on about we're not set up to win a championship. We have no money. We don't have this. We don't have that. It's like, okay, so that becomes the question of are the boosters willing to pay a new coach, or is it more of we just don't want to support you, Hunter Yurchek? We don't want to support you in the program that you're trying to go and the direction you're trying to go with the program. So we're not going to give it to you because you retained Sam Pittman, you kept him on. So we're just going to wait until that plays out, and then we're going to make moves and we're going to move on from it. To me, that's what it has to be because it would make 0 sense. And if I'm Hunter Yurchek, here's my thing, Matt. If I'm Hunter Yurchek and after last year, if I'm going to these big donors, be like, all right, where's the money at? And they go, we're not giving you any. You know, my first thing is, okay, well, I'm going to go fire Sam Pittman. I'm going to find a coach that you will set up for success. So something went awry here. I think it's more of a leadership thing. I think it's more of an administration thing. And that's why I just don't know if Hunter Yurchek's going to be around much longer as athletic director, just to be honest, because of the vibes and the feeling around here. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And in a way, I kind of feel bad for Pittman and staff, because I'll tell you this, Matt, I had assistant coaches that I talked to earlier in the spring that were calling me up saying like, these guys are setting us up for failure. We don't have the support we need. This is a bad situation. And it looks like it came to fruition. So very strange, very odd, but I think there's a lot of major changes that are going to continue to happen here at Arkansas.
Especially against that schedule. John, look at the rest of the, I don't know, the wish list or the realistic candidates. I mean, I know Rhett Lashley at SMU said he's happy at SMU, which I would be too. What feels like the short list, either the wish list or the realistic list? Who are the names that make sense?
Well, see, that's the thing, is because, before, Matt, when you could go through coaching searches, you could be like, all right, well, I know where we stand in facilities. I know where we stand in recruiting. I know where we stand in all these things. And you could kind of gauge of who's realistic and who's not. But because of this day and age with NIL and with money being everything where you don't know how much, it's like, there could be some names where I'm like, there's no chance that happens. But if the donors and these boosters truly have all this money that they're going to flood, then they suddenly become a lot more realistic. So it's really tough to gauge it into that. But obviously, Rhett Lashley's the common name. He went to Arkansas. He's from Arkansas. And obviously, he's had some success there at SMU. I know people are always going to look at the common ones, of a John Summerall, somebody like that, that's at a group of 5 program that could step up. And for some random reason, I know this is going to sound stupid, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways. This John Gruden thing does have a little bit of leg to it. I'm not saying he's going to be the Arkansas head coach, but he's best friends with John Daly, and we know Big John Daly's an Arkansas guy, and he's been pushing it. For some random reason, Brett Favre tweeted out and posted yesterday on Facebook that he wants him to have the job. I don't know why. No one asked, but he did. And it was just very strange. So I'm not saying it'll happen, but it's one of those things. It's just, I'm like, all right, well, what if it did? That'd be kind of wild. That'd be kind of cool. So, there's a lot of names getting thrown around, and even Gus Malzahn's getting thrown around a little bit. It's like, geez, I don't want to go down that road. But, the names will start to come out a lot more as the season continues to go on.
He's got Gus Malzahn has the 5th best odds to be the Arkansas coach. Is the Arkansas coaching search the drunkest coaching search in college football?
Of course it is. It always is, man. It never goes according to plan.
Is it? I don't know. I mean, I don't lock in on Arkansas coaching searches.
Oh man, you should, because it keeps you entertained. It keeps you up at night too. It's just the craziest thing, because listen, you're like, the last major coaching search you had was with
John
Calipari,
man. Oh, you're talking about football. What? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, football. Basketball's easy. Basketball and baseball or any of these other sports, those are the easy ones. It's the football because there's so much involvement. But you think back to like the Chad Morris thing. Well, you ended up with Chad Morris because you didn't have an athletic director either. You fired Jeff Long, and that ended up being a disaster. And then, you had the situation with Pittman. You had actual legitimate great candidates, but the problem was Yurchek did not want to deal with Jimmy Sexton. And last time I checked, Jimmy Sexton represents a lot of great coaches.
All of them.
And he didn't like to deal with them. So, you had that madness. And then in this case, it's like, how much money do we actually have? Because you got Yurchek saying that we didn't have this money to support Pittman, but don't worry, now we do. It's like, okay, so what changed? What's going on? There's just so much confusion and a lack of communication on it that nobody really knows where to go with. And that's what makes it so drunk, is like they could end up with a rock star hire. The Calipari thing, I think, has made Razorback fans think like, oh yeah, we could get Nick Saban. I mean, that could happen. But it's also made it to where it could go a billion different directions, and they end up hiring somebody that no one's even talking about. Like, it's just all over the place, my man.
I mean, after Chad Morris went from SMU to Arkansas, I'd be leery about Rhett Lashley. I know it's completely different, but the SMU to Arkansas pipeline didn't work out so great last time.
I mean, is it any drunker than bringing back Bobby Petrino and making him the head coach again after all that?
Part of all this. That's kind of part of all of it. It's what I'm saying. It's fascinating theater. If you want to learn more about it, you should go to Inside Arkansas, and you should subscribe to the Locked on Razorbacks podcast there with John Nabors, and follow him on X at John Nabors Show. At John Nabors Show. Thank you, John.
Anytime, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, be well. It's after further review. Man. And if you're that drunk, then you should drink Evermore to rehydrate your body. How about that? Yeah! Love that one. EVAMOR, Evermore.com. Available at great local retailers. If you walk into a retailer and they don't have Evermore, please go to the cashier. Say, I demand to speak to the manager now. And then when the manager comes out, she or he, look that person in the face and say, why in the world don't you carry the best water on the face of planet Earth, Evermore? EVAMOR. I drink 2 of these 64-ounce bottles every single day. Stay hydrated. It's so essential for hydration is essential for immunity, for your immune system, to make sure all of your body's processes function normally, especially when it's still hot outside. You forget to drink water if you're going to be drinking alcohol around game days so much in the fall. Stay hydrated. Drink Evermore. And support a great Louisiana business. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. Okay. Saints are facing Jaxson Dart. Got a little bit of a deep dive into this matchup. We'll do it next on AFR.
AFR.
We had a little nip in the air this morning. Walked outside. It was 68 degrees. I know that's not really cold, but still a sign of things that are coming. Fall is almost here. We are a month away from Halloween. What an awesome time to get by Clegg's Nursery, y'all. Love telling you about Clegg's, great local business, 60 years in our community. It's what I was encouraging, man. Bypass the big box store. Don't go into the big orange or blue box store. Support a great local business. Go to Clegg's Nursery. And there's 4 locations, so no matter what part of town you're in, there's one near you. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and then the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs, which is the largest garden center in the state of Louisiana. That's the one Terrio talks about. You go to the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs, and it's just like as far as the eye can see. It's massive. What an amazing selection and great people. So buy local, shop local, tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
We ride back and forth till we run out of light. Take it to the barn, put it up for the night. Climb up in-
Without a dominant receiver, it's going to force Jaxson Dart to look at the whole field and only throw to the open guy rather than try to get the ball to one guy. Plus, it's going to help develop some of the other younger, really good receivers like Wan'Dale Robinson, who may or may not be on my fantasy team and who has shown some signs of progress and excitement. That's my hard sell. How did I do?
Ian Rappaport, who apparently is a gigantic fantasy nerd, talking about what the Giants' passing game will look like without Malik Nabers. And we all just feel gutted for Malik. Louisiana guy, stud at LSU, awesome rookie season with the Giants, emerging as one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and cut down in week 4 of his second year with a torn ACL, and he has a long recovery ahead of him, and we wish him a speedy recovery, and hopefully he's back soon to being one of the top receivers in the entire National Football League. That can exist, and so too can the reality as we talk about the competitive balance of the game on Sunday, where you have Jaxson Dart, who's a rookie quarterback, making his first ever road start, and he has to do it now without Malik Nabers, who's obviously his best weapon. Harry Douglas obviously played wide receiver in the NFL, and he does a show on ESPN Radio nationally called Freddie and Harry, and he tried to discuss the impact on Jaxson Dart not having Malik Nabers.
He also has another rookie to back him up and have his back. And I thought Cam Scatterboo, Freddie, how many times did I say that, right? Before, Tyron Lacey got hurt and Scatterboo got the starting job. He needed to be the starting running back because he brings something different to the Giants football team. It's that physicality from an offensive standpoint. But just his physicality, blocking and pass protection, blocking when he's a lead blocker for Jaxson Dart, and also rushing the football, like that's something different that I feel like this team needs.
Of course, we all had the opportunity a year ago. We college football fans had the opportunity to see Cam Scatterboo a year ago, and he just really emerged to stardom, especially late in the season. The incredible performance he had in the playoff game against the University of Texas. And Scatterboo, his NFL career here with the Giants, although they're 1-3, he's off to a pretty good start. He leads the Giants in rushing so far through 4 games. He's got 48 rushing attempts for 181 yards, just under 4 yards a carry. I understand that's not great, but after Scadaboo at 48 rushing attempts, next closest is Tyrone Tracy Jr. at 22. So you're seeing a couple of rookies here with Scadaboo and Dart who are kind of emerging as the future, along with Malik Nabers, of this offense in New York. And it was interesting hearing a couple of former NFL head coaches talk about these young guys. Rex Ryan, for example, was on Get Up, and he talked about what having those young guys, Scadaboo, Dart, like what those young guys brought to the Giants in their win against the Chargers on Sunday.
Not only was the quarterback bringing juice, the running back bringing juice, it feeds to the entire football team. Yeah. Dexter Lawrence, Burns, all those guys. That defense, best that defense played. It's no surprise to me. And I've been calling from jump about it. In 42 rush attempts. I've seen that formula work before. Don't tell me it can't be done.
Ground and pound with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, go to a championship game. Why? We led the league in rushing attempts. That's how you do it. You manage a rookie quarterback like this. And what I saw, the energy this cat had. He had like over 50-some yards rushing.
Rex Ryan, of course, is talking about when he was with the Jets, and Mark Sanchez was the quarterback that they drafted, and they went to the AFC Championship game, leaning heavily on the run game and the defense. And ultimately, that was not sustainable. But you have to have a dominant run game and a dominant defense, which the Jets had. I'm not sure the Giants have. But it was impressive against L.A. this past weekend. And Sunday for Dart in his debut, it was his third game played, but that was his first start. And against the Chargers, they didn't ask Dart to do much. He was 13 of 20 for 111 yards. Say that again. 13 of 20 for 111. Touchdown, no interceptions. He also ran it 10 times for 54 yards and a score. That might be the differentiator that you put the asterisk next to. But the Chargers lost the turnover battle 2-0. The Giants possessed the football for 35.5 minutes to 24.5 for the Chargers. And the Giants' defense recorded 6 sacks. Remember, Joe Alt, the Chargers, the Notre Dame first-rounder of a year ago, got hurt and carted off in that game. So the question is, okay, maybe that formula can work if you get 6 sacks, win the turnover battle 2-0, and control time of possession by 11 minutes. And by the way, they won the game 21-18. It's not like it was a rout. So, and that was at home. So I look at Dart, and it was impressive to manage it the way he did. And Herm Edwards was also on ESPN radio, who gave his impression of Jaxson Dart's debut.
It was fun to watch, and plays with a lot of energy, but he's going to have to temper himself some because he's not going to make it through the season if he continues to run and not protect himself. And that's the first thing I would tell him when the game's over. That next day, hey, look, man, you want to have a long career, you got to learn how to slide, and you got to learn how to get down. Because at this rate, you're going to run into a guy that's a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. And the problem is when they hit you and you don't get up, then you're standing over here by me, and that's not a good thing. I want you in the game. So if you're a Giants fan, you're excited about it.
That is one thing to watch. And I remember when Joe Burrow was a rookie, it was a very similar conversation. When there was this story, forgive me, I don't know the ref's name, but there was a ref who kind of went up. It was one of those mic'd up moments when the ref went up to Burrow during his rookie season. He's like, hey, Nine, you're a great player. You need to learn to slide. You need to learn to get down. So, protect yourself. And it's the same true for Dart and for all these quarterbacks. But, I look at Dart, and I can understand the excitement for the Giants getting a win behind their rookie quarterback. Listen, Spencer Rattler's tried 10 times now and still hasn't gotten a win. Dart got a win in his first go-round. And remember, the New Orleans Saints put a ton of time into evaluating Dart through the draft process. Remember, New Orleans tried to trade back into round 1 to draft Jaxson Dart, but the Giants were the one that got the deal done to trade back into the back of round 1 to select Dart. The Saints were trying to get back in to take him, and ultimately they took Shuck in round 2 at number 40 because they couldn't get the deal done to move back in. And Kellen Moore on Monday had a lot to say about Jaxson Dart, someone they spent a lot of time evaluating.
Yeah, Jackson's a really good player. He was a really impressive player at Ole Miss. And so, when we went through this process, obviously we spent a lot of time with him. He's a great kid. He's going to be a really good quarterback in this league. And, for him to come out win his first game, use his legs in some situations. He's a really talented player. And so, he's going to get better each and every week. And so that's going to be the challenge for us. Is he's going to be a much better player this week than he was last week. And so it'll be a challenge for us. There's still a lot of unknown just because he's only played one regular season game, and it'll be a lot of challenging circumstances for us.
There's a few things, though, that I think are super relevant. One, so far the Saints, the 4 quarterbacks they've faced, Kyler Murray's played in 86 games. Mac Jones has played in 54. Sam Darnold's played in 87 career games. Josh Allen, 115, and he's won an MVP. Now you face Jaxson Dart without Malik Nabers. And if I flip this and look at the New Orleans Saints, each week you have gone against a legit number one who has really had a field day against Kool-Aid McKinstry. Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 catches, 71 yards, and a score. Juwan Jennings, 5 catches, 89 yards, and a score. JSN, 5 catches, 96 yards, and a score. Shakir this last week, 5 catches, 69 yards, and a score. No Malik Nabers. Can Slayton do it alone for the Giants? Big question. Maybe. But again, Dart was only 13 of 20 for 111 yards. They gave him a lot of manageable situations and manageable throws. I don't know that they're looking for the game-breaker play from Dart. You may need that against this Saints defense. And the other part of it, too, is rookie quarterbacks in recent history haven't done great even against New Orleans. A year ago, the Saints did face Jaden Daniels, but that was a close game in the Dome. Remember, that one finished 20-19. And then in 2023, they beat Bryce Young twice. They were 2-0 against Bryce Young. They faced Tyson Bagent and Tommy Cutlets that year as well. So and beat them both, obviously. So it's just a really difficult thing to ask a rookie quarterback making his first road start without his best receiver to try to win the game. It's why the Saints are a slight favorite. If the Saints go play clean, I think the Saints have a great shot to get their first win of Kellen Moore's career, and obviously the first win for Spencer Rattler, who currently is 0-10. Saints and Giants, Sunday at noon in the Dome. All right, it's after further review. Quick break. Can LSU fix the offensive line this year? We'll ask former All-American Will Blackwell next on AFR.
After further review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for a decade. Get Gordon, for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Love telling you about Gordon and all the great things that Gordon, his firm, have done not only in Baton Rouge, the community, the entire state of Louisiana. It's rare that you go to any type of charity event without seeing the big block G, because Gordon believes in giving back. That's why Gordon Gives exists. It's the charitable arm of the law firm. Go to GordonGives.com to learn more about all they do, GordonGives.com. But if you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, I'm not just talking about big truck wrecks or auto accidents. Yes, it's a big part of their business, but it's any type of accident. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, let Gordon go to work and his team go to work to get you what you deserve. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Sean Salisbury in about 25 minutes from right now. Talk about Garrett Nussmeier. Also, the Jaxson Dart, Spencer Rattler matchup this weekend. We've obviously talked a ton about what's wrong with the LSU offense. Will Blackwell, former Tiger All-American offensive lineman, is a good person to ask what's going on with that unit. Willie B., what's up, man? Thanks for the time. How are you?
What's up, Matt? I know you're low or in the middle of a crisis when you call me, so I'm here to chat.
I appreciate it. Okay, you watch the team. What do you see when you watch this offense?
I think I see the same thing everybody else sees, Matt. It's just the inability to run the football. And we're not talking, 150, 200 yards a game. We're talking 75, 80 yards, just enough to break up a little bit of monotony. I don't see very much push. I see a lot of guys running through in the backfield. And, the more I think about it, the more I just don't think that the offensive line really knows what to do on certain plays.
What do you mean?
It seems like there's some missed assignments. Now I know that we've got some new guys in there, and we've rotated a bunch. We don't really have a solid core that we've been working with for a few years, but it everything seems awry. I don't see much push. I don't see guys like finishing to the whistle and blowing guys downfield. Another thing that bothers me about the way that they've run this offense is there is no creativity. And when I say that, I mean you don't see guys pulling. You don't see tosses to the outside. We're not trying to move these athletic linemen. So if we can't line them up and get push off the ball, we got to line them up and get them out in space and create some holes. I don't know if I've seen Joe Sloan run any what we used to call a horn boss, which would just be pull a guard or a tackle and toss it out to the side. There's no plan. It seems like we're just relying on Garrett to throw the ball, and as we've seen, that hasn't played out very well.
Well, do you think that it's inability to run or unwillingness to run that's the problem?
You know, man, I've had this conversation with some former teammates and personnel people, and we all seem to agree that it's an attitude thing, right? Like, you don't just wake up and say, you know what, we're going to run the ball today, or we're going to run the ball this week. You have to. It's a mentality. It's a drive. It is a grind. It's very tough to put yourself in the position to be strong enough to do that. And I just don't see the determination, which is part of the attitude, and being able to run the ball.
Will Blackwell's former LSU All-American. Can they fix it this year?
I don't know, Matt. That's a good question. I mean, attitude, it's mostly mental. And it's one of those things that, you know, we never kind of had to worry about when Coach Moffitt was there. You know, I don't know what the off-season program or camp is like, but, man, we went so hard in June, July, in August that by the time we got to September, we felt like we got a break. Playing a game during game week was way easier. And, you know, looking back on it, I think that was part of the building process of the mentality of, hey, I don't care if we don't get a yard on this play. We're going to get 3 yards next play or 4 yards next play. And you have to have that I'm going to put you in the ground, just mean, dirty, nasty mentality to be able to run the football. And I just don't see that out of anybody on this line.
So what would you do this week with the open date to try to move forward? Because we all sort of universally agree, right? I mean, they have to run the ball better. So
yes.
What do you do this week in this open date?
Well, if it were me, I would have to go back old school. I'd line them up in the eye and make them run power 50 times. Because again, like I said, it is a mentality, and whether or not they can achieve that attitude this year, it's really kind of up to them. I mean, we got guys that are big enough. We got guys that are strong enough. It's just a mindset. And again, you know, I was thinking about this earlier when I talked to Matt and figured I was going to be talking to you. You know, I'm coaching my son's flag football team, Matt, and we're not very good. But the first game, we didn't score any points, and I had an offense. Well, the second game, you know, I said, but that's not going to work. We're going to try something else. We scored 2 touchdowns. You know, so I'm going to build off of the things that I knew that I did well. And the problem with LSU right now is there is not anything that they can build off to do well. Mm. So you might as well start over. Go back to day one. Why not? It's not going to work. But I think the overall issue is that we got to figure out what's going on with Nussmeier. If he's hurt, if he's unable to play to his ability, then we got to do something else. There's never any situation in any other league or team where a guy who's hurt and is not able to perform plays instead of it's the whole point of having a backup. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that.
Do you think it's Brian Kelly said on the Feinbaum show yesterday that they saw 85 to 90% drop 8 against Ole Miss? Meaning, obviously, Ole Miss had 8 defensive backs, 85 to 90% of the snaps. My question is the ineffectiveness throwing the ball Nussmeier's hurt, or because who the hell can throw against 8 defensive backs?
Well, that is true. You know, obviously, when you got 8 guys in the zone, but that wasn't the whole game. They didn't play that way the whole game, and they definitely weren't. I'm pretty sure they didn't drop 8 when he threw that interception. They were able to drop 8 because we couldn't run the ball for, I don't know, what, 35, 40 minutes. Might have taken that long before we got and then rushing yards, that was really off of that bubble screen, which got called back. So it's just a combination of things, but again, it all comes back to not being able to run the ball.
Yeah. If
you can't run the ball, then why would I not drop 8 against you every time? So again, got to go back to square one, figure out how to get some rushing yards. We all know that you have to run the ball to be able to pass it.
Will, did you all run any RPO stuff when you played?
We kind of got into it a little bit when Jordan kind of was taking over for Jarrett and they were going back and forth. We did a little bit of speed option, a little bit of. It was just kind of coming into the game, Matt. But our focus was 95% run and then a couple play actions. But even then, that brings me back to the mentality thing because they knew we were going to run the ball. Everybody knew we were going to run the ball 50 times a game, and we had this call it crazy if you want to, but we just had this idea that nobody could beat us. Now, eventually, we were wrong in the end, but that is a team culture thing that I don't see a lot of dog in this offensive line, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Will Blackwell's with us. The reason I asked about the RPO is I actually heard Hester and Flynn talking about it. There was an interesting thought just to say if it's an RPO, which is a run with a pass option, then it sort of limits the offensive line and how aggressive you can be because there's the possibility of a pass. You can't fire off and get to the second level and get downfield. So it does kind of limit your ability. I just didn't know if you had any thought on.
Yeah, it is. That is a good point. But even still, if I'm an offensive lineman in an RPO, I'm still going to maintain trying to get a push. I don't want to sell that it's a pass option. I want them to, no matter what, think it's going to be a run, right? So I'm still coming off the ball. I got a yard and a half, 2 yards, and even at that point, if you have a yard, 2.5 yards of push, then the running back should be able to find a little bit of a crease. There's too many guys in the backfield. There's too much penetration. I mean, we saw him getting home with 3-man rushes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I don't necessarily think that the scheme is the reason that we're not getting push. But then again, it doesn't help the fact that fundamentally it looks like we don't know how to run the ball.
Yeah. Well, I got 2 weeks to get healthy and try to figure something out before South Carolina comes in. I would say, Will, teams are allowed to improve. I mean, they can get better. How much improvement can they make realistically?
I think, like I said, Matt, it's an attitude thing. If they're gonna sit there and be down and say, kick themselves for a week about how poorly they played against Ole Miss, then yeah, it's going to be an issue, and they're probably going to win 6 or 7 games. But like you're saying, if they decide that it is within their power to improve, then they will, and we will see a stark difference against South Carolina.
Hope so. Will Blackwell, former Tiger All-American offensive lineman. Always great to chat, man. Thank you for the time.
Anytime, Matt. Hope all is well, brother.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man. We're doing great. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gents, getting close to holiday season. It's when a lot of guys pop the question. If you're thinking to get engaged this holiday season, make sure you pop one in to see our friends at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They got 10 locations, 2 of them in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, Shreveport. They're online at lmfj.com, lmfj.com. They even have some out-of-state locations as well, Texas, Mississippi. So if you're our audience out of state, make sure you check out the website as well, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Maybe you got an anniversary coming up. You want to trade in that old diamond for an upgrade. You do that at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Ultimately, what they want is for her to be thrilled and for you to be the hero. So they got amazing gifts for any occasion. Anniversaries, birthdays, beautiful timepieces, of course, diamond engagement rings. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Okay, y'all, let me knock out a break. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2. We just talked offensive line. We'll talk quarterback in about 16 minutes with Sean Salisbury. We're looking forward to that conversation. Don't you move. It's AFR.
After further review.
Gents, if you're on hormone replacement therapy, and I know a lot of people are, I have been for a while. I've told you about that. It's absolutely life-changing to get your hormone levels back to where it were when you were a healthy young person. The energy, the ability to burn fat, build muscle, libido, waking energy, the ability to sleep well at night. It changes your life. I mean, you feel like you did when you were younger. And so many of you are on HRT. And I would encourage you that if you are currently on hormone therapy, consider switching to Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'll give you a couple reasons why. Number one, they got the lowest prices and never any contracts. Most places aren't going to make you sign a contract, but they have the absolute lowest prices on HRT. But also, when you do your blood labs every 4 to 6 months to check your levels, Goodwood picks up that expense. They don't pass it on to you. They pick up your blood labs. Check them out today, yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
One more teeny weeny ride before I take her home. She thinks
Always appreciate Sunshine. Locations all over Louisiana. Sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. Get all your tailgate stuff as well. Generators, fans, they got all of it. Of course, zero-turn mowers, gators, hunting season's here. Go see our friends at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. All right, Musso, Tigers in the pros. Yeah, here we go.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, Monday Night Football doubleheader. Mason Taylor. Nice night for the New York Jets. 5 receptions off 7 targets. He had a long of 27, totaled up 65 yards. Did not find the end zone, but we're in a rookie season for Taylor. Not bad. Not bad so far. We'll see how that progresses for him. He's on a horrible team with no quarterback, but, whatever. Speaking of teams with no quarterback, the Cincinnati Bengals. Jake Browning. Man, that was rough. And he can't get the ball to Jamar Chase very well. Tried 8 times, succeeded 5. 23 yards on those 5 receptions for Chase, a long of 10. And that Bengals offense scuffled its way to a loss against the Denver Broncos. Major League Baseball, congrats to 2 former LSU Tigers, Tommy White, Christian Little, both invited to participate in the MLB Arizona Fall League, developmental league for some of the top prospects in Major League Baseball. White, the number 7 prospect in the A's organization, spent time at both High A and Double A this season, hit 12 homers, so now he'll continue in Fall League. Christian Little is the other. Of course, he's in the Mariners organization, spent time in both Single A and High A ball this year, punched out 68 in 62 and 2/3. Red Sox Yankees, that's about to get underway here in 7 minutes. Alex Bregman, he'll be in the lineup for the Sox, hitting 3rd against Max Fried and the Bronx Bombers. We'll give you a full update and recap on Bregman's day on tomorrow's edition of Tigers in the Pros. It wraps it up. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Supper Club. You know what I love so much about Supper Club? I always say, no matter what you get at Supper Club, it's going to be the best of that thing you'll get anywhere, if it's steak or the sea bass or the Alaskan king crab. How about their dry-aged meatball appetizer? Okay, you think of meatballs, right? Not at Supper Club. When you order the dry-aged meatball, this is 4 3-ounce meatballs that uses the Sagrera cow meat that's ground and aged for 35 days. And it's topped with buffalo ricotta cheese, served on a bed of house-made marinara, garnished with basil. The meatball contains breadcrumbs, eggs, and cheese in case of any allergies. But I'm telling you, it's a 35-day dry-aged meatball. Who does that? Supper Club does that. Which is why you better get your reservation. They're open. Actually, in 6 minutes, they're opening. Open seating at the bar. They got 14 bar stools, 7 bar tables. That's first come, first serve. You can always get your reservation at supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. Open date this weekend for the Tigers. It's a great time to pop on in to Supper Club. If you've never been or it's just been a while, get by Supper Club. Supperclubbtr.com for your reservation. Supperclubbtr.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. SportsCenter's coming up. We'll get you caught up on national headlines. Sean Salisbury is going to be with us here to start hour number 3. And we just have so much quarterback stuff to talk about. Nussmeier, is he hurt? Is he not? If he is, what do you do? The ability to throw against when, as Brian Kelly said, 85 to 90% drop 8. How do you function against that? How do you get the offense going? Then, of course, from the Saints side, you're going to be facing a rookie in Jaxson Dart. Can Spencer Rattler finally get a win against a Giants defense that sacked Justin Herbert 6 times this past weekend? I mean, we had so much to dive into with Sean. Excited to have this conversation when we come back right after SportsCenter. Hour 3 is next on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com, ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. Always encourage you to get by the website to start. Listen, name brand tires at wholesale prices. You hear me say that all the time. But it's not just a throwaway line. Like the thing that Shawbills does, this is like the core of their business. They're going to sell you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible because they realize all they have to do is get you in. Because they're going to treat you amazing. It's just it is part of their customer bill of rights. I mean, if it's Charlie's Dozen, which is a dozen benefits extended to you when you buy tires at Shawbills, or their customer bill of rights, and you realize how amazing they treat you, from free tire repairs to free balancing and rotation for the life of the tires, all the different ways, that, honest and fair pricing, all the things that they do to make you feel special and wanted and appreciated, going to make you come back year after year after year after year after year. It's the lifetime value of a customer. They understand it better than anyone. Shawbills, we keep you rolling.